What up my people, karibuni sana kwenye yet another episode of Unbearable Conversations. Najua nimepotea, najua I've not been posting for a while due to some technical issues here and there, but now we are back. We have amazing stuff for you. So today we have a very interesting conversation about life transitions. Life transitions in terms of transitioning from a young person to an old person, transitioning from you being a mama's kid or a daddy's kid to being, responsible for your own self. Transition in terms of the things that we go through. Even loss of a loved one, you can transit from that also. So we are going to be talking about that, and we have a very powerful person with us as our guest today in our show. She's a journalist, she's a podcaster, she's just so many things in one, and you guys can't wait to see her. So let's do this. Let's roll. Yes guys, as I had told you, we have a very powerful person, journalist, podcaster in the building today. We are going to talk about life transitions with her. So Kate, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes, tell us about yourself, your name, what you do.
So but anyway, my name is Kate Wangila. I am a journalist student. I also have a podcast at illuminatepodcast.ke. Go check it out. I'm a model, I'm an actress.
Nilisahau model. But anyway, nilisahau.
Yeah, there are many things I'm doing here and there, but those are the main ones. Yeah.
Amazing. So we're talking today about life transitions. The transitions that we go through in life in terms of, especially at this age of ours, we are transitioning from depending on our parents to being independent on our own selves and finding out our own paths, where we belong, what we're supposed to do. So all of these things are things that we go through. And we find out that when we go through these life transitions, there are so many things that come, we can face, like stress, depression, anxiety. And let me speak on my perspective. Just I think some months ago, or I think 1 year now, almost, when I moved out from my parents' house. Maze, unajua pale hivi move out and then kuna kitanda yako, kuna gas. Na sasa unajua ni hoji sasa hata unajua hata sikuanza na sufuria, unajua mtu anaanza na gas. Unaanza na gas.
So unaenda na gas kule gas.
Utakula gas, unajua utaleta sufuria baadaye. Wenzake gas inakuanga priority. So nakumbuka hiyo time maze after nime move out. So I was like, man, doing any hit, I'm supposed to be responsible for my own self. This is the time I'm supposed to figure out my own self and everything of the sort. Unaona? So at that point, maze kuna anxiety ingine ilikuwa inanipiga. I was having a bad anxiety, a deep anxiety of what am I going to be, what am I going to do, am I going to be successful, and it caused me a lot of stress, and to a point that I started like less even interacting with people because my thoughts are pegged on this and this, So that's my personal experience. Have you experienced anything like that?
Well, not necessarily a huge change, but I feel most of us can relate to, high school to uni, that's a huge transition for anyone, and it's the most common transition that, I can use as an example. So for me, I feel now I was coming out of a space where I was protected in this bubble. Like life was almost hidden away from me. Like the real life was almost hidden away from me, and I was just like, okay, now this bubble has been popped, and then what do I do? Like, how do I go about it? What will I face tomorrow? Or rather, when I go out, okay, because I've been protected all this long, what if there's something that I don't know that I'll find out? That you see, just that whole uncertainty. It brings a lot of anxiety, of which, he can relate to as well. I'm sure you can relate to. There's a lot of anxiety that comes with uncertainty. Not knowing what will happen next, not knowing what you're going to do tomorrow, not knowing, the way forward. It's a lot. And especially for someone who is very, this must be done, this must be done. I like to consider myself an orderly person. So now when you don't know what is happening next, you're just like, wow, okay. sasa what's not happening, you know? Sasa umekatwa hapo, you're confused, you're wondering, you're anxious. Yeah, so I understand, you know, the uncertainty that people may face facing huge transitions. Yeah.
Umefika point ukapigwa na anxiety in life. Like ile inakupiga real bad, because me I remember nilikuwa I was like unapigwa na anxiety hadi unakaa tu hivi kwa bed uko like
yeah.
It's like you're feeling cold, you know, and it hits deep. Have you reached to that point?
Yeah, anxiety is something I've personally struggled with for a long time. You know, it's not even you know, one that you can say yesterday's anxiety was deeper than the other. You know, I feel like it's just something that has become so constant. How you're used to it, you're just like, okay, you know what, you kind of just ride it out. Of course, yes, there are times where you face like, you know, the real jitters. You know, you're like, wow, okay, this is happening for real, and you're just anxious. You don't know what's going to happen next. Yeah, that definitely happens, but I feel like for me, I found a way to maneuver around it, and especially in just letting things be and going with the flow. You know, sometimes you want things to go perfectly, sometimes you just want to be like, okay, I can do this to avert this problem, to solve this problem, to do what. Sometimes you can't, sometimes life just, you know, and then you just find yourself you fix yourself in a position where you feel like everything is your responsibility to fix. So just take it one day at a time, just ride it out, just go through those motions, yes, but knowing that you can't control everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to transitions, us Jamas and you ladies, we are different.
Yeah.
You know, because talking of Jamas, personally as a Jama, talking for the Jamas, we are supposed to be like responsible for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then you're like, still the parents are providing, you're cool, you know. But for us Jamas, it's different, it's a little bit different. You have to figure out yourself. You have to figure out your things, what you're doing, where you're going, you know. Okay, I don't mean that like ladies don't do that.
Yeah.
But for Jamas, it's so different. Do you feel like there are different things that ladies also like wakona different transitions, like when you see Jamas, we have that?
Life in general, everything for both ladies and men everything is double standard. From the way you talk, to the way you wear, to the way you are supposed to be financially, everything is just double standard. And I feel like yes, guys do actually go through more than ladies do, because as society has put it in a way that it's acceptable for a lady to stay like, let's say, until her 30s, for her to get married. But for madamas, you know, by 24, what are you still doing in the house? Out.
Yes.
You get? Yeah, there are totally different things, you know, especially, there are so many factors when it comes to transitioning. And, you know, in terms of change, and especially for ladies. Now for ladies, I feel like the moment you start, you know, you get out of adulthood, or rather not adulthood, adolescencehood, and you come into a stage where, you know, now some things you are depending on yourself, like, or rather you're just getting out into the world. Yes, that is the way I'll put it. We are getting out into the world. You don't know what you'll face. You've had so many stories, Mara, oh, this one has been raped somewhere, this one has been assaulted somewhere, and you're just like, oh, okay, now it will no longer be, you know, something my parents are protecting me in this kababble, and, you know, they can't protect you forever. And, you know, sometimes the thought of even just going out, mingling with people, going about your mashuguli, let's say in Tao, it's you know, it brings a lot of anxiety as well for ladies, because piapo, you don't feel protected, you don't feel safe. Like, that's the reality for ladies. We don't feel protected, neither do we feel safe. So that's even a transition, by the way. Like, going from that kababble that your parents used to protect you in your teenagehood, and then now moving into, you do things by your own as a lady, and you're out mingling with other wananchis. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. And talking about that, do you think, talking about the bubble, you know, bubble now, being overprotected or maybe protected by your parents, and then it reaches a point where, you know, sometimes people have this, I don't know, like, you find, I have friends who complain about their parents being too protective, to the point that these people, they want to try even the wrong things because of this. What do you think about that? Do you think that family sometimes it affects these transitions?
100%, because first of all, our generation of parents, they're very, very old school. As in, they're those people that, you know, okay, for me, I usually see it as this. They learned their lesson doing these things, and you know, that now they're trying to impose those lessons on us. When they should let us learn for ourselves to see if this is what we actually want. You see now, for example, parents who say, you know, or rather, let's use an example. Now, going to church. You are forced to go to church. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But you don't know why it is the right thing to do. You see that most things you don't understand why it is the right thing to do. Or rather, why it is the wrong thing to do. You get? So the why behind it is, I feel, what also needs to be explained. And also, there's an extent to which there's a thin line between being protective and being, how do I put it? Being almost militant. Yeah. So there's a very thin line, because once you know, of course there's a point, you want to be, especially for ladies, you know, your fathers or mothers would want to protect you as much as they can, but parents also need to realize that, you know, sometimes it gets out of hand. It can get out of hand very easily, and it can become something very, you know, militant. It can go in that direction instead of what you intended it to be. So that, you see, you have to weigh what you're doing. Is it protective or is it being militant? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine. She was doing a certain course in UN. I'll not mention it. This friend, it reached a point where she was like, this is too hard for me, I can't do this course. You know, but she wanted to change the course.
Yeah.
But the parents were not for that. The parents told her, stick to that. Why?
Yeah.
Because this is what we have told even our friends and the people around us that you're doing. So going to tell them that you're changing this and this, it's not right. So she had to like stay there.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's right?
It's not right, because me, first of all, I see it as a way of our parents trying to live their dreams through us. So now, let's say, because honestly, sometimes they just want to, you know, something that they did not achieve before, while they had the time, they want to achieve it through you. And, you know, also sometimes it's just for, you know, a topic to go to have some chai over. You know, it's just a topic of discussion with your friends, with your parents' friends. So you see now that, okay, it is very wrong. It is very wrong, and that is something that personally I will not condone, or rather, you know, I don't. It is something that, you know, parents need to realize that we can't do everything for you. We're also humans. You get? We're also our own selves. We want to be our own beings. We want to do our own things in our own way. So now when you come and start imposing such things on us, okay, and then now how are we supposed to figure out life for ourselves? You know, that's the funny thing, because even at the end, now when you come out, you know, you have gotten your degree, but you're not feeling successful, you're not feeling like, you know, I knew I've achieved something. And then you go to them and you tell them, I don't feel like this. They'll be like, no, that was your own decision, you made that decision on your own. And I'm like, okay. You know, it happens sometimes and you're just like, okay, Sasa, where are we going to take each other? Because it's some sort of, it's a way of manipulation. That's what people need to realize. It's a manipulation tactic. So think about it. Share this video with your parents, by the way. They should also learn something. Yeah.
Do you think that transitioning to this transition of, you know, you are single and then you're going to date now, do you think it's a tough one?
Where? I feel like, especially for guys who have been single for so long, you know, it's very tough getting into a relationship, because... Guys,
you mean like guys, ladies?
No, as in everyone. Both genders.
Oh, okay.
When you've been single for that long, you're just there like, okay, now I'm getting into this relationship. You feel like it's something new. You feel like it's a game that you've never played before.
Yeah.
It is, first of all, uncertainty. Like I said before, uncertainty equals anxiety. So now you see that balance, that whole play of, you know, uncertainty, anxiety. You're just there like, okay, now, was it worth it for me to try out a new relationship? Should I just have stayed in my comfort zone? You know, me being single, that is a comfort zone, by the way, you know, because you're protecting yourself from Nairobi. Yeah, so
from Nairobi.
exactly.
That's
So,
deep. That's deep.
yeah, so it is a huge transition, by the way. Yeah, and especially in terms of, you know, you're so used to yourself. Hardly sharing yourself with someone else is just something that is so out of the blue. Yeah.
Maze, that's so true, because when we come into, you know, talking about relationships, there are very many people who struggle in relationships because, you know, they don't know what to offer.
Yeah.
They don't know how to carry themselves. They find that they're in this ball or bubble of pressure, you know, of this is expected of me. Sometimes I need to act this way.
I need to do this for my man, for my lady.
Exactly. So you find that very many people go through this, you know.
Yeah.
So let's take a short break and then we'll be back to talk about how we can be able to handle these transitions, right?
Yeah, kabisa.
Yes. Welcome back, guys. We were talking about transitions and how we can be able to cope with transitions. So, Kate, you mentioned something about how you underwent anxiety, and maybe some other things. How were you able to cope up with those things?
Well, for me, no one can really say that they saw me have anxiety, because, you know, you can still be, okay, how do I put this? You can have anxiety, yes, but still function at your very best. It's called high functioning anxiety, and that is what, you know, I had, because I wanted to be seen, you know, safe, right?
Does that high kumalizi deep inside you know that you're going through that, and then you're trying to put up the best?
Sometimes you just want someone to see it through all the bullshit you're putting out, and just come and give you a hug. Just come and tell you it's going to be okay, don't worry. You know, you just want that one person. Sometimes that person never appears. You get?
So guys, lesson from that, please appear. Appear for that person.
If you see that one person going through the most, but they seem like they're doing okay, but you know that there's something off, be there for that person. They just want a hug, imagine. They just want someone to tell them it's okay. Because that's what I wanted for a very long time. For me, I feel also it got to a point where, you know, I'll get home and I'm so drained, like physically, emotionally, mentally. Hadi nasikia tu, I want to lock myself in my room the whole, you know, night. Like, I don't want anyone to talk to. Like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to interact with people, because the energy that it takes, the energy that, you know, anxiety takes, you know, from you. It's the absolute worst, because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy. By the time you're even wanting to do what you want to do, you have zero motivation, zero energy, zero emotional and mental capacity. You're just there like, okay, I can't do this anymore. You know, hadi umejimaliza basically, right? So yeah, for me, I feel like for, you know, going through that stage especially, needed me to be very kind on myself. You know, just being like waking up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and having a conversation with me deliberately. Like, I intentionally stand in front of the mirror and I say, it's going to be okay. I became the person that I wanted other people to be for me. Think about it. So I became the person that I wanted other people to be for me. You know, I became loving, I became kind, I became compassionate towards myself. You know, that person that you're always looking for. You know, you want someone to treat you, you want someone to talk to. Imagine, even go treat yourself, go talk to yourself, if that is what, you know. Jipe raha mwenyewe, yani raha jipe mwenyewe, ati jipe raha mwenyewe. Whichever comes komsa. Yeah, so that's what I would say. Be the person that you want others to be for you. Yeah, and also, you know, take it one day at a time. Not everything, you know, sometimes we think, and especially for people with anxiety, we overthinkers, yeah? We think, hadi, I don't know what month of the year of, I don't know which decade. Yeah, that's how far we think, and just take it one day at a time. If the worries of today are enough, You know, just go through those worries of today. You rest going to know, I mean, you go rest, English. You go rest knowing that tomorrow is a new day, that, you know, you have done your best trying to deal with whatever issues have come today, and that is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
There is something I learned, I think 2 weeks or 1 week ago, that, you know, worrying right now about the things that you're going through, it doesn't sort out the problems of tomorrow.
It doesn't.
But what it does, it eats up the happiness that you're supposed to enjoy right now.
Exactly.
You know, you can be facing a situation, but all you're seeing is the negativity on that situation, the negative side about what you're going through, but you're not looking around you and seeing the positive things, the smallest positive things that you have around you, simply because of this one thing that you've let, you know, your mind to go through, you know, to struggle with. And that is something very important, because very many times, personally, I do that. Like when I'm facing something, my mind is really stuck on that something, to the point that I forget even the smallest positive things that are around me. You know, I forget to even be grateful about that. You know, so that is something I learned about that. So when you're going through these transitions, one thing that I've come to discover in life, and personally, let me speak about me, is that they teach you something. There is something that transition is shaping you. There is someone who is being shaped by that transition, and that is you. For you to be able to become the best version of yourself, for you to be able to become the person that you're meant to become, that transition is a must. It is a shaper. I can't say body shaper because body shaper is a different thing. It is a shaper of your life, you know, of the person that you're supposed to become. And when you come out of that transition, when you come out of that anxiety, of that stress, of the things that you're going through, you'll come out as a different person.
100%.
Question yourself when you come out, not have learned something.
And not even a different person in a good way.
Exactly.
You know, you would have grown so much, you would have learned so much about yourself as well, you know, and you build from there going on. Yeah.
Otherwise, guys, this time we want to do a very new segment. It's called Memes of the Week. Yani ni meme gani imetubamba this week, and of course I have my meme na pia my guest akona meme yake enye ilimjenga through this week. So mazeka itakujenga pia. We are doing this so that you can be able to reduce that anxiety, that stress that you're having in your life, that thing that you're going through. Remember that there are things that can make you happy. So ni meme gani imekujenga this week?
Ati unaishi one bedroom and then you come on social media posting stuff like having breakfast in bed, like you have a choice.
Wow, that's deep. That's okay. Unatuongelea. Juu nilisema story ya bedsita na kitanda.
No violence to anyone, please.
Oh, si mimi.
It is just
confirm, si mimi.
Si wewe.
Oh, sawa. You know it could have been a different story ingekuwa mimi, but ni sawa. Ni sawa. Thanks, mazi nashukuru. So, mimi imenijenga this week. Nilicheki meme and it like ilinijenga sana, as in ilinichekesha. Kuna msee alikuwa amelala, but akiwa amelala kuna simu ilikuwa kando yake, like na hapo kwa simu amepost, unaona vile unaweza post status, unaandika something. So ameandika I will never sleep until I make my mama proud. And then on this side mazee amefunga mdomo ngorota, anafungua mdomo hivi anangorota. So mazee niliona hiyo stuff, mazee ilinijenga, nikacheka, I had to post that. So mazee, those have been our memes of the week. Thank you very much for joining us on today's show. Make sure you catch up with us next week for yet another big show. Probably, and God willing, we'll also be talking about transitions. We'll have a very professional person who will come to and tell us more about transitions, how to cope up with transitions, and what to do when you're facing some of the things in life or some situations in life. So thank you very much, guys. I've been your host, Godfrey Washira.
And I have been your guest for today, Kate Wangila. Go follow me on Instagram, kate.wangila. Yeah.
Remember to check out our podcast, Illuminate.
The 8 is an 8, the number.
Illuminate.
Yes.
I'll write it down so that people can be able to see. So, you know, there's this topic that you talked about relationships and marriage. Yeah. Man, guys, you lazima usikie. It's a must listen for everyone. So if you've not checked out Illuminate, you can check out Illuminate on Spotify.
Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We are almost everywhere. But yeah, those are the main streaming platforms, so you'll find us there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sawa sawa. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. Make sure to catch up with us next week. Make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share with your friends, because mental health, what you're going through, another person is going through. It's not only you. Also build another person through these things that we talk about, our daily lives. Yeah, that's it. Kwaheri.